This is what we mean when we say internal improvement. This is what we mean when we say our own players have to get better. We're going to talk about that on the DLLS Rangers podcast starting now. Oh, that's a good question, and one we will continue to ponder with you as the Rangers continue to make their way through this offseason, through the Hot Stove League. We welcome you into the DLLS Sports Studios. Welcome you to the DLLS Rangers podcast. Rads with J-Dub here today. No abs. We do have the Prophet standing by over there to help you out and to put your words on the screen, if you will, and to help us out in a huge way. So we're glad to be here again today. And guess what? There's like this watery substance falling from the sky in Dallas.
Not familiar with what
this is. We haven't seen a lot of that stuff. It's raining, which is exactly why I wore the. This is like a waterproof jacket. And some of you might be thinking, whoa, man, you're consorting with the enemy. First of all, I'm not enemies with these people. And now the B, Jeff, it stands for badass. That's what I am.
I'll take it. Badass.
I'm a badass. Yeah. And by the way, I'm still a little bit angry. The great Candace is over here, too. She did that bit for Social last week where all the hosts were asked, who would you take to be with you in what three people would you take in a bar fight?
Yeah.
Nobody picked me.
Well, John,
everybody picked Luds.
You've got a big head, and you're from the north.
And
you'd have been
Jesse
tough.
Holly, of course, but nobody picked the badass, right?
Yeah.
Actually, that's not true. Abby picked me.
That's very nice
Candace,
of Abby.
Candace is over there saying she picked me too. Abby picked me, but not because I'm a badass. And look, I'm only a badass right up here in my own head, but she picked me because she thought, he could talk his way out of anything. Not that I could fight my way out of it, which is probably true. So anyway.
Very clearly I'm a lover and not a fighter.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
nobody
I really
in their
wasn't.
right mind would have picked me.
I really wasn't even that upset when nobody picked me. But actually, Lud said he meant to. Lud's only mentioned him and Jesse, and he said, yeah, I meant to pick Rad so he could call play-by-play of the fight.
That'd be pretty good.
Yeah, it wouldn't be bad.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to talk lots of baseball today. We want you to join in with us. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast, and we've got a lot to talk about. We don't have any pitching to talk about. We do have a lot of pitching to speculate about, though, and we'll do that. Yeah, we'll continue to do that, and hopefully soon it won't be speculation anymore. But we do have that other need addressed, and we talked a lot about it yesterday, and we're very happy to have had the new catcher on the show, and that was really great work by Jeff, and a nod, a tip of the cap, if you will, to Rich Rice over at the Rangers.
For sure.
And everybody for helping us with that. We got Kyle Higashioka on the program yesterday. It was really cool. It was nice to hear from him. And you, finally, after we did all that in a frantic sort of a manner, because his introductory press conference Zoom was at the same time as the show, you finally got to sit down last night and digest some of this stuff and figure out where he's going.
Yeah, and there was a lot that I didn't write. There's a new story for diehard members. And I think that diehard offer has been extended.
Oh, that's right. I almost forgot to mention that. Thank you. Yeah, diehard membership, 36 for 36. We turned it into like 48, I think, or maybe a little more for 36. It's still $36. it's just like 48 hours that you had to do this. So a little bit more time. You've got until the end of the day today to get the best deal ever on becoming a diehard. The numbers are increasing dramatically. It's been so popular. We decided, our bosses really, but we'll
take credit.
Yeah, we'll take any credit you can give. But we decided we're going to keep this thing going until the end of the day today. So go ahead and become a diehard, and that way you wouldn't have to wonder what Jeff wrote behind the paywall on our site, on our website here. As it is, you don't have to wonder much because we're about to tell you.
Yeah. We kind of talked about some of the things that stayed with me. My main takeaways, that the Rangers were ultra aggressive with him,
yes,
which has kind of been a trend with the past few off seasons. They target these guys that they really, really want and think they can get. They do a lot of research on them. It starts really in October when they're doing their pro scouting meetings and lining up their targets, if you will, and then they go get them. They try to jump on it right away, show interest, and that's something that another thing that Higashioka said is that, hey, these guys liked me. It really meant something to me that they were so aggressive, that they targeted me early, and that Chris Young not only said it, he followed through with it, with the action. And so, that's a big deal. The split in the playing time, which we talked about a little bit that came from Ross Fenstermaker in the second Zoom call of the day. The big word was compliment. We want them to complement each other. Basically, that means that they're going to split playing time. They have to both be good for that to work. And the Rangers, another takeaway that I did not write about, so you guys are getting a little exclusive here. I don't know if it's exclusive, but the Rangers really think that the changes that Higashioka made at the plate, widening his stance, a little bit opening his stance, which allowed for the bat speed to play a little bit better, and then the power showed up. They think that that's something that will stick. They don't think it's just a one-time thing. And then Higashioka had said that he's not satisfied. He doesn't want to just stay where he's at on that. He wants to keep improving at the plate. He likes what he's heard about Donnie Ecker and Justin Veely. He might have seen Veely in action when the Padres and the Giants played each other 13 times this season. So that was it. That was another. Those are the main takeaways. But in regards to the pitching, I thought what Ross Fenstermaker said when I asked him about Eovaldi was really interesting. I'm going to try to dig up the basically the quote was where he didn't answer it in specifics because they just don't do that. The Rangers just don't do that. But he said, let me find it. Who's next? All right. He said a lot of that the Rangers are in contact with a lot of the high-end arms and starting pitchers and trying to figure out if there's a fit there. All right. And the high-end arms, Blake Snell was a high-end arm.
Right.
So if that's the market, $182 million for over 5 years, if that's the stratosphere the Rangers are working in, they've got either a lot more money than we ever thought they had, or they're just going to commit the most of their money to starting pitching and maybe do something else. Bullpen, a cheaper version of try to find another Kirby Yates, if you will,
or maybe deferring money.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
I mean, Shohei Ohtani signed for $2 million a year against the cap.
Yeah. Or you could, if you don't get a Corbin Burns, let's say, if he's now in play. Does that give you the money to do Eovaldi and a top closer? Right. So it's pretty interesting. I'm sure Ross, this might be one of his first experiences having his quote pulling apart. As a GM, that's kind of what happens when you say stuff. But it was pretty interesting to hear that, and encouraging, I would think, for Rangers fans and who have gone through the offseason thinking there's no money available because of the TV uncertainty. Well, maybe that does mean that Ray Davis is going to flex a little bit. They still want to stay under the luxury tax, but if you have, let's say, $50 to $55 million available, and you just tied up $6 a year to the catcher, roughly 6.5, 6.75. Hell, I don't know the math, but That's not a lot.
No.
And you're going to have some coming off the books after this season, with most notably with John Gray at $14 million. You can massage it a little bit and maybe get something done. So that was the unexpected thing. I think we kind of had a feel for what they wanted to do at catcher. The equal share of playing time was a newsworthy bit. Kind of clarified why he got a 2-year deal, but then for Ross to say, yeah, we're looking at high end arms. It's like, oh, okay,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
okay.
That changes the dynamic a little bit, because as much as we love Nathan Eovaldi, he doesn't fit into the high end arm category right now.
No.
He fits more into the Kikuchi category right now, which we've said many times on the show already. We've said, look, that's sort of the number you can look at, or a little higher, for the Nathan Eovaldi territory. Kikuchi with the Angels signed for 3 years and 63.
So
Okay.
21 a year.
21 a year. Yeah.
And that's if Eovaldi were younger, he might be
Right.
a little higher in the rankings. But I think that below 25 is realistic. I don't think you need to go more than 3-70 to get Eovaldi. And if you do, then why not go 5 and 150 for Corbin Burns? Really, it's only $7 million difference, and you're getting a younger pitcher. I'm sure Burns will get a longer deal than 5 years, but hey, why not?
Shoot your shot
if you've got it.
Yeah, shoot your shot if you've got it. No doubt about that. So the other thing that was real fun and interesting about Higashioka is the fact that, he mentioned that same thing that you were talking about when Abby asked, why was last year your best offensive year, at least as far as power numbers go? And he said, we made a slight change to my batting stance, and that's that wider stance that you were talking about, Jeff. And it definitely paid dividends. 17 home runs was his career high. And those 3 in the postseason are just, they're memorable and they're dramatic. He had, 1 in each of the games when they swept the Braves, and then he had 1 in the series against the Dodgers. So, of course, anything against the Dodgers, if you're a Padre and a Padres fan, is always dramatic. So now he's a Texas Ranger. That's really cool. Now, we've got a guest, a guest coming on the show in the next segment, and I saw one of his tweets yesterday. His name is Jared Sandler, and Jared was, saying the same thing. He heard the Ross Fenstermaker comment about the fact that they're going to split time for now. And Jared said, that doesn't mean one of them can't earn more playing time.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
And the idea is, obviously, what the Rangers would like is the younger man who's still learning, Jonah Heim, to be that guy who emerges and reemerges, if you will, as a all-star type, Gold Glove type catcher that he was in 2023. Anyway, we're going to get Jared's thoughts about this Higashioka thing, and we'll also talk to Jared about his charity event that's coming up this weekend. It's going to be really fun. It's out there at Globe Life Field. So lots to talk about with one of the radio voices of and actually, Jared did a few games on TV last year, too. So we'll see if he's got insight, if he's heard yet, if he's doing both again this year. So it's going to be fun. We're going to have Jared Sandler on the program. We're going to talk about his charity. We're going to talk about all things happening with the Rangers. We might even try to sneak around and keep him around until we talk about that stupid golden at bat or golden rule. Or I guess you're already getting a hint of how we feel about it. But let's talk about that. All coming up. DLLS Rangers podcast. I do want to remind you, though, game time. Abby's not here, but you need to take advantage of game time. I did. I finally did, and it's awesome. So not only did I get tickets to go see the play that's coming to Dallas a little later on this month, Dear Evan Hansen, but a Tony Award-winning play. Like this app shows, I was able to figure out which seats were available just by looking at the legend, if you will, there, the thing, that shows you each and every seat and how it relates to what you're looking at. But what's cool is I've gotten a lot of emails from Nicole at game time. And I'm not sure, Nicole really knows me or likes me, but I know this. Nicole has sent me a lot of emails. And to be honest, there's a lot of times I don't know what's coming to town. But Nicole reminds me, once you make one purchase, I see, oh, wow, well, I might be interested in that. So Game Time, go to their, get their app, use the code DLLS Rangers, and you get $10, $20 off your first purchase with the code DLLS.
Yeah, and with the Big 12 championship coming to town, Arizona State and Iowa State fans might want to look. I looked right now just for this purpose, and you can get tickets as low as $42. That's pretty high, but
not bad.
Like in the stadium high. Yeah, not high price-wise. Yeah. I'm going to guess that comes down a little bit. Anyway, C.D. Lamb a couple weeks ago needed a pair of Shady Rays while he was playing at AT&T Stadium with the sun coming in. Shady Rays don't need them today, but they're just terrific sunglasses. They're hard to break. They're polarized. They have all different kinds of colors to support your favorite team, and they're 35% off if you use the code DLLS. The best thing is they have the replacement warranty. It's like just getting glasses for free over and over again if you ever lose them. So use the code DLLS at shadyrays.com. Now
we want to get to talking about various other aspects of the Rangers, and we want to do that with a guy who talks about the Rangers for a living, like I have over the years, like Jeff has over the years. We welcome to the program one of the radio voices of the Rangers, the guy who does pre and post on radio almost every game, and certainly the only ones he doesn't is when he's broadcasting the game on either radio or television. Jared Sandler joining us now. And look at that guy.
Hi, Jared.
Jared.
What's up, guys?
How are you?
Great. How are y'all?
Doing great. This is one of those situations where I don't know if you do, Jeff. I remember Jared as an intern for Eric Nadel.
I do.
Do you? Yeah. Okay. And now Jared, so this is when the intern just shoots right past you, right? He's like, Jared is killing it out there now, doing radio play-by-play, doing television play-by-play, and it's actually really fun to see you, Jared, living the dream that you dreamed when you were Eric's intern so many years ago.
Oh, I appreciate it, Rads. That's very kind. And I don't mean this to date you, but it's still a treat, getting to be friends with you, given that I grew up watching you. And I don't think I've had a haircut since I was Eric's intern. So that's a big difference between now and then. I put on a few pounds too, but that's very kind, Rads. I appreciate the very kind words. And it is a dream for me growing up here. And obviously 2023 was a dream, times a million, but hopefully the Rangers can do some things this offseason to be back in a position to compete for a World Series.
Yeah, we want to get to that. We want to get to the event coming up Sunday. First, have you had an opportunity to chat with anybody over at the Rangers about like how your role is going to be defined this year? You did do some TV last year. Is that in the mix again this year? Where do you stand?
Yeah, I'm hoping so. I think so. I think, TV, when Dave, who does such a great job, when he gets his few games off, and when Eric and Matt get their games off on the radio side, we'll be filling in and pre and post and trying to babysit Matt with his technological deficiencies and helping Eric search some of the websites like Baseball Savant. Those are daily tasks, and then annoying Jeff in the clubhouse with random questions. And
never.
I don't think I ever annoy you, Rads. I think we always have good, strong conversations. But Jeff sees me, he darts. No, I'm just kidding. He doesn't dart the other direction. I as far as I know, like a lot of people, I'm kind of waiting to figure out what's going to happen on the TV front. But I'm confident and hopeful that fans will be able to actually watch the Rangers this year, or at least more fans will be able to. Everyone will have an opportunity to, as opposed to what it's been the last few years, which has been disappointing, not just for, I think, the Rangers, but the local teams here, and then teams in other markets across the country who have not been able to distribute their games the way that they were hopeful they would be able to through Bally. So, it's tough that it led to what it's led to, but I'm hoping for some really cool, new, exciting things on that front for fans, so that they can they can join the ride, because that was one of the hardest things to see and read and hear in 2023, where people say, oh, this is great, I wish I could watch the games. And up until, the playoffs, it was tough for folks, and hopefully that's not going to be a challenge for people in the future.
My first conversation with Jared, we actually had the same pair of Adidas running shoes.
Yeah.
That was my very first conversation with Jared. So,
do you remember what they looked like?
Yeah, I think I might even still have them. I'm not a hourter. Like
that's how us old people are, Jared. We keep stuff.
I don't need to be on that A&E show, but I might still have them, Jared. So I'll check when I get home. But that was a long time ago.
2015, light gray with some bright orange and purple.
Exactly.
Accents around like the Adidas stripes and stuff like that.
Yeah, they were kind of like my Broncos shoes. Maybe not purple, but maybe a little blue. But yeah, no, I'm with you though. Those were exactly the ones. Yeah.
Did you try to race him, Jeff?
No, he's always hurt.
So
he's always...
That was a few years ago. I've been healthy largely the last few years, but I did have a rough stretch. Let's see, shoulder surgery in 2016, and then knee surgery in 2017 when I was hot. Okay, I miss Globe Life Park. Excuse me. I do not miss summer of 2017 when I had crutches, and thus, the jeans or whatever pants. It just seemed like it was a sauna in my legs while I was crutching around Globe Life Park, and inevitably sweating like way more than I normally would. That was like miserable. But yeah, my injured days hopefully are behind me. But I know that we always say it about these athletes, they're not getting any younger. I'm not getting any younger, so I'm sure my body's going to be breaking down sometime soon.
Yeah, well, we'll keep our fingers crossed that it doesn't. Jared, active day yesterday, and Jeff and I were just talking about the signing of Higashioka. Jeff's take with both of ours, really, the great thing is the Rangers targeted somebody, and then they went and got him. I think that's how Chris Young has typically operated, and this was consistent with that, wasn't it?
Yeah, it is interesting. I always used to say that for every team other than like the Dodgers and Yankees and Red Sox, who it seemed like whenever they wanted and not that Kyle Higashioka was a big-time free agent, but whenever they wanted a big-time free agent, they more often than not got that person. For every other team, it was like, I don't want to say a lottery, but you had to really fight and claw to get, that big-name guy. But it's also important, for those teams to be able to get the non-big name guys that they want, because those guys, you go back to 2023. I mean, the Rangers won the World Series, yes, because of Corey Seager, and yes, because of Nathan Eovaldi. But, we talk about it all the time. The depth that roster had, especially that lineup, played a huge role. And no one ever would have guessed that Travis Jankowski would have a big impact on the season early in the year. And then again, briefly in the World Series when Adolis Garcia went down. But you need to be able to get all these guys, and you trust that the front office can identify the guys they want, and you want them to be able to get their first choice. And it was clear that Kyle Higashioka was their first choice as someone who can tandem with Jonah Heim behind the plate. And I think this is great for the Rangers, and I think this is great for Jonah Heim. I think the catching position is a unique one where none of these guys want to play less, right? And that's the tough part about the catcher spot is you ask Jonah Heim, hey, are you good to go? Of course he's going to say yes. He wants to be in there. But I think that's a spot where less is more. And I think you're going to see more production from Jonah Heim in 2025, simply because I don't think they're going to feel the obligation to play him as much. Unfortunately, Andrew Knizner didn't really work out as the backup catcher. And so I think early on in the season, especially as the lineup was struggling, it was tough for Bruce Bochy to justify riding in Andrew Knizner more than he was, which is basically once a week, because they needed to try and get the lineup going. And Andrew Knizner wasn't going to be the answer. Now, Jonah Heim didn't end up being the answer either, but he was coming off an all-star season, and it made sense that they wanted to try and ride him. Hopefully with Kyle Higashioka, you don't feel that same need to ride Jonah Heim, and it will work out beneficially for both those guys, and you can maximize 80 games out of Jonah Heim, 80 games out of Kyle Higashioka in theory, hopefully if you can keep those two healthy.
Hey, Jared, we've got someone here who wants to say hi to you.
Hey, Jared.
Hi, Micall. How are you doing?
This is Jared's sister-in-law who works with us here.
Hi.
Yeah,
you guys
she is.
spent some time together at Thanksgiving.
We did. We did.
Yeah. Hey,
She's more sister than sister-in-law, Rads. I love Micall, and it's great seeing her.
Well, that's very
awesome.
nice.
And she's clearly way younger than you. So,
Yes.
Yeah, way younger. Well, Micall's doing a great job for us, and anybody who's out there wanting to buy our shows and advertise on them, this is the lady to get in touch with. Micall Sandler. It's an easy last name to remember. We're thrilled to have her here, and we're glad she had a chance to say hi to you, Jared. Yeah, it's awesome. We appreciate it, Micall. Thank you. Yeah.
All right.
She was kind of
Micall.
standing over in the wings, Jared, and I'm like, oh, no. We got to get you on
Bring
to
her
say
on.
hi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, FaceTime.
And Micall is married to your brother, yes?
Yeah, I have two brothers. She is married to my oldest brother, Darren, and they are parents of my two favorite nieces in the world, Ella and Lily.
Awesome. Fantastic. That's great. All right. Let's get to pitching, Jared. Obviously, from the beginning, Nathan Eovaldi has been a priority for the Rangers. But yesterday, Ross Fenstermaker said, and Jeff pulled up the quote moments ago, he said, we're in on what was the word, Jeff? Big name?
High-end arms.
High-end
starting
arms,
pitchers.
right? And, we love him, Nathan Eovaldi, but he wouldn't fall into that high-end arm category. So who are we talking about here?
Yeah, financially, Roki Sasaki is not high end, but I imagine that the Rangers are in on him. He is a high end talent. You see all these rumors thrown out. Luis Severino, I don't know, is any more high end than Nathan Eovaldi. But does that mean Corbin Burns? If it's Corbin Burns, I think, guys, you're looking at a $200 million price tag. So is that something that they're willing to do? The one thing I'll say is, and obviously the luxury tax threshold is going to be a consideration, but the Dodgers have shown that you can sign a lot of big money guys and maybe do it in a somewhat affordable way with deferrals. And, we always talk about how sports leagues, have an element of copycat, within them. And, the Dodgers are doing this, so why won't other teams, or why can't other teams do this? Maybe it'll be tougher for the Tampa Bay Rays to convince someone to take deferrals. Maybe not, but you would figure that a big market, a big organization like the Texas Rangers should be able to do something like that too. So when someone asks, well, how could the Rangers afford Corbin Burns? I don't know that I'm equipped to answer that, but I do know that the Los Angeles Dodgers have found ways to sign like $17 trillion worth of contracts, but do it in a way that, isn't as cost demanding in the present. And so if it is a big name, I mean, he's probably the biggest name free agent pitcher out there, unless you consider Roki Sasaki, who, again, he's kind of a perfect combination of big talent, but because of the posting system, not going to be a lot of money at all. And so I think for that reason, the Rangers are going to be in on him, but as will be pretty much every team in Major League Baseball, I imagine.
Yeah, it's I don't think there's a huge group of high-end arms, and I wonder if high-end arm also meant the closer side. There are some good closers who are potentially available, and it's something the Rangers have never done historically, at least since I've covered the beat, is throw up a ton of money for a closer. I know they did Joe Nathan, but
here comes another old friend, Jay.
Hey, Jared. It's good to see you, buddy.
Hey, what's up, Jeff?
Hi, I love
you.
you.
Love you too, man.
Good luck with the Sandlot. Swinging for a cause. I love you. Bye.
Hang on.
Uh-oh.
It's old home week, Jared.
Yo! Oh my gosh!
Hey, G. Oh no! What do we have now?
Oh my god!
We breaking the set.
Oh, Kevin,
He's fine.
It's all right.
Kevin Gray.
It's just a light tower.
It's nothing. Get in the middle. There you go, KG. Good job.
All right.
That's great.
Hey, we got
a reel. We got a reel for today. You see what I'm saying?
Breaking news.
We're always breaking news. Breaking lamps.
I'm very clever.
That's awesome.
Hey, I just want to add
Tim Cato playing father over here. So,
great.
Yeah.
The voice of reason.
Yeah, he's the voice.
Come say hi.
If he's the voice of reason,
we're screwed.
We got problems around here. I got news. So,
let's sell some stuff and then we'll go back to the.
Yeah, we got to go
talk.
back to this. You see what kind of S show we got working around here, Jared, which is fun for us. And we're going to talk to you also about that swinging for a cause here in just a couple of minutes. But we have some more things to talk about later on the DLLS Rangers podcast, too. It's all coming up. DLLS Rangers podcast.
Well, Rads, I've got to admit something here. I didn't really look at what we're doing next, but Empire Today is up, so you're ready to go.
And I'm ready with Empire Today. And yeah, let's talk about it. The floor right here that almost had a glass chamber from a light tower on it is fine. The floor is great. It withstood that kind of abuse, and away we go. It's Empire Today flooring. That's why. It's really good stuff, and we encourage you to avail yourself to Empire Today if you're getting new floors. Get them in for the holidays and obviously Thanksgiving over, but there's one more big holiday yet to come, and you want to get the floors for that. Go to Empire Today and get the highest quality. They're the originals. They're the innovators. Everybody else who's out there is copying what Empire Today has done. We encourage you to go to empiretoday.com and use the code DLLS. You'll get $350 off your new floors at Empire Today.
Yeah, and then use that money to go get you a durable, awesome, lightweight cooler that's probably as durable as the Empire Today floors. And we're talking about Rugged Road, our friends at ruggedroadoutdoors.com. Use the code DLS for 10% off. If you haven't heard of Rugged Road, most durable, lightweight, floatable, dependable coolers out there. Keep stuff cold for a week. If you have power run out, damn ice storm or something, go ahead and get your Rugged Road out, and your stuff's going to stay fresh. If you have kids, you got to drag to the ballpark like we do. This is a perfect cooler. It really is, because of the lightweight and the durable design. So gear up for your next outdoor adventure with Rugged Road coolers. Reliable, durable, and built to be used, Rugged Road is your ultimate outdoor companion. Head to ruggedroadoutdoors.com. Use the code DLS for 10% off.
It is a fantastic deal, one we encourage you to take advantage of. We have Jared Sandler on the program as we continue to talk through the Rangers offseason, and we talk about Jared's upcoming event. But where the heck were we, Jeff?
We were talking about closers.
Yeah. And
how the Rangers traditionally don't spend that kind of money. And so you have that history maybe under a previous regime. But I mean, Kirby Yates was only 4.5. David Robertson was 11. So you kind of have some recent history that maybe Chris Young, whose world championship team was built on a bullpen. Maybe he has a change in philosophy at closer, Jared?
Yeah, I mean, it's just so tough. They're going to have a young, inexperienced bullpen to some degree going into the year, and it's tough when you have that coupled with the young and inexperienced closer, unless you strike gold with a guy who's going to be the closer for years and years to come. But here's the thing. when was the last time the Rangers had a closer in consecutive years? A guy start the season or end the season as a closer, start the next season as a closer, and remain. And Joe Nathan's the last guy. I also think, too, just to combine that with what Ross Fenstermaker said yesterday and being in for some big-name arms, and Jeff, you mentioned the free agent pitching class, outside of Corbin Burns, Garrett Cole, but I don't think anyone thinks he's obviously going to stay with New York. And then Blake Snell's off the board. Matt Fried is another name, but he's not really linked to the Rangers. But what the trade market, I think this is an offseason in which the Rangers might not make a big-time, big-money free agent move, but could make a big splash in the trade market, and perhaps it involves a big-name pitcher. So I wonder if when he's talking about big-name arms, if they're talking about big-name arms in the trade market, specifically, at the back end of the bullpen, a guy like Devin Williams. The Brewers are a team that, whether they're competing or not, they're not afraid to trade big-time contributors to their mix. They did it with Corbin Burns last year. Devin Williams, is a guy who I think might fit that category this year. But, I do think that you're going to see a more focused effort to build a bullpen. The challenge is, I think that might be a status pending even into the season. I don't know that they're going to be able to build it totally this offseason. It might involve the development of some young guys who get called. They're not ready on opening day, but maybe they're ready in June and July. And, of course, the trade deadline also offering another opportunity to add some juice to the pen.
Yeah, that kind of answered Kenzie's question from the chat. You think the Rangers are more likely to trade during the offseason? And there's definitely a possibility. And Garrett Crochet's name keeps getting bounced around.
Yeah, it does.
If I'm Will Venable, the new White Sox manager, I sure as hell don't want to trade Garrett Crochet. But that kind of a team that just lost 121 games, that kind of speaks maybe to how far away they think they are and need to maximize talent. And why not? Why wouldn't the Rangers try to get in on that? And they thought correct me if I'm wrong, Jared, but they thought they had landed God dang it,
Dylan Cease?
Yeah, Cease last spring. I really think that they thought they had the best offer, a better offer than what the White Sox got. So maybe there's some history with the White Sox, in other words, to they can just pick up where they left off.
Yeah, I think, I always say I think the trades that are made are interesting, but the trades that aren't made are the ones that are more interesting because we never know about them, or more often than not, we don't know about them. And I do think that there's probably an interesting story to be told about the Dylan Cease adventure last year. Because, I think that the Rangers thought I think they went to sleep. People in the front office probably went to sleep one night thinking that Dylan Cease was going to be a Ranger the next day, and it didn't work out.
Yeah.
Nope, a lot of them don't. All right, the other thing that and then we get to the charity event coming up, Jared. But the other thing that people are wondering about during this offseason, now that catcher has been addressed, is sort of that other bat. They still need and would like, right, another bat.
Yeah, and this is where I really think the trade stuff could come into play with some gymnastics. Because if you look at their lineup, I mean, there is a spot which they could upgrade. They could just the general outfield spot, and then you could figure out who plays where. But I think that it might be a situation where the Rangers sort of reshuffle the deck, not significantly, but maybe trade from the major league team to add to the major league team and fill a hole while maybe giving up in an area of surplus or changing the identity of the lineup. But yeah, I do think that the Rangers are in need offensively. And it also could come in a way. I know that everyone wants to win the offseason, right? It's always more fun when you sign Corey Seager and Marcus Semien and John Gray in an offseason and then Jacob deGrom the next offseason. But I think, when you look back every single year, some of the best moves are the moves that, barely make it to the headlines on MLB.com, right? It's the guy you signed for 1 year, $4.5 million, who is good at a very specific set of things. And maybe that's hitting lefties. And you pair that guy with someone who's really good at hitting righties. And all of a sudden you don't have that one stud, but you've got two guys who in combination can give you really good production. But because they might not be everyday players or platoon immune players, they're not going to be nearly as expensive. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Rangers, a guy like Randall Grichuk is, I don't know that he's a guy they're going to get, but he's a guy who comes to mind. He is not going to be nearly as expensive because Randall Grichuk is a platoon player. He's not someone who is going to be in the lineup every single day. He's a right-handed hitter who is going to be in there to hit lefties. And for a guy like that, not going to be super expensive. But now you combine him with a left-handed hitter or someone who can hit righties, and maybe together they can give you 25 home run, 95 RBI production, but do it for $9.5 million combined, right? I wonder if the Rangers go that route. We've seen teams like the Rays, the Twins, the Brewers try to build lineups like that. I don't think the Rangers need to build a lineup full of platoons, but maybe you take a spot and you think, all right, we can platoon here and try and maximize contribution based on the dollars that they have to spend.
Mm-hmm. Very good thoughts. Something we'll keep looking into as well, Jared. One of the things that people may not know about Jared is what a good heart this guy has. He started his Sandlot charities years ago. You weren't even out of your 20s yet, I don't think, Jared, when you started that charity. And how many years now is this for Swinging for a Cause?
This is going to be our 8th year, Ads. We had 5 at Top Golf. We had 1 that was virtual in 2020, and then this is going to be our 2nd year at Globe Life Field. We're happy to be back.
Yeah, fantastic. Let's show Prophet. Let's show the graphic to show everybody what we're talking about here. Swinging for a Cause. It's this Sunday at Globe Life Field. You see some of the details there. Screenshot that if you would, so you know how you can go help a great charity and also have a heck of a good time. Look at all those people down on the field at Globe Life Field. And Jared, I wasn't able to make it last year and don't think I will this year because the winter meetings are starting. But what are they doing? What are those games they're playing in the outfield out there?
Yeah, it's basically a field day. So the outfield is lined with all sorts of games and activities. Some are tailgate games that you don't need a ton of athleticism for. The cornhole. I was going to call it corn bags. I know it's not right. Cornhole, and I think we have a adult Connect Four, like life size Connect Four, and then we'll have stuff like pickleball and ping pong. But then we also have some, a wiffle ball home run derby. It's like at Globe Life Park out in center field, except this is on the field. You got to hit it over the fence. And we're going to have a 3-point shootout. We'll have 5 racks around a sport court 3-point line. And you'll have 1 minute to, basically participate in a 3-point shootout, much like you see the NBA All-Star Weekend. And then the really cool thing, if you get through the 3 or the 5 racks with time to spare, you go to the free throw line, you sit in a wheelchair, and it's supposed to replicate what the wheelchair basketball athletes experience, and you can fire up as many free throws while sitting in the wheelchair for bonus points. And we're going to have a fastest shot competition in soccer. So in addition to being able to go out to the visiting bullpen and see how hard you can throw the pitch with a baseball, you also can see how hard you can kick a soccer ball. And we'll award prizes to the winners of these various competitions. And then also it's great for kids too. We're going to have a bounce house and face paint and some activities that are good, for the 5-year-old that you don't want to leave at home. You don't want to pay for childcare. Bring them along. It's an event that's fit for adults and kids. And if you don't want to do anything athletic at all for, however long you're there, that's totally fine too. There's food and drinks. We got multiple bars, and it's a great opportunity just to hang out and mingle with friends. So we try to create an event where there's something for everyone. Hopefully if you didn't get a chance to experience it last year, you can come out this year. We have sold out all the tables, but as far as I know, and I'm sure some fire marshal is going to tell me I'm wrong, but there's no real cap on tickets. So we are still selling individual tickets at the sandlot.org/events. And the individual tickets get you everything a table does. You just don't have a reserved spot to sit, but there's going to be plenty of seating available. So it's not like you're going to have to stand the whole time if you don't want to. So hopefully people can come out and support. And I'd also add too, we are still looking for like a handful of volunteers. And so if someone is interested in volunteering, we need you available from like 2:30 to 8:30. But hopefully it's a fun experience as a volunteer as well. You can DM me on Twitter at Jared Sandler, and we can get you connected if you want to come out and volunteer.
Yeah, and I would think the volunteers have the opportunity to get as close as anybody to the celebrities you'll have there. I know you always get a nice handful of celebrities to come out and help you with your cause.
Yeah, no John Radigan this year, no Jeff Wilson because of the winter meetings, unfortunately. But Elvis Andrus will be there, Jonah Heim, Cody Bradford, Drew Pearson, and a number of other folks will be there. We're hoping to get a certain third baseman for the Rangers, trying to make it work with his schedule, a guy that went to Texas Tech. We'll have some people, a lot of broadcasters will be out there as well. So it's a lot of fun and great opportunity to mix and mingle with folks that you might not otherwise come across. And I'm just looking forward to it. And I'm glad you brought that up, Rads. I'm just so grateful the support we get from the community, from you guys, from some of the athletes, from the Rangers, and then all the people who either attend the event or bid on the auction, which is available online. And Jeff, I know would echo the same sentiment with the way that Do It for Dirt has grown. But the support from the community for these causes, whether it's Do It for Dirt, Sandlot, or any number of causes out there, is really remarkable. And we're so incredibly appreciative of the way that people will jump into the pool and support us with whatever it is that we're doing.
Yeah, Jared was on the weekly show not that long ago, and it is amazing, and it's it's a loyal group of Rangers fans who make, I don't want to say make the rounds, but they support all of our events. And John, you know a lot of them. We know a lot of them. Obviously, they're just great people. And if a player isn't at the event, there's an opportunity though that he might have donated some time or some equipment or some autograph stuff, and it goes a lot deeper than just their presence. I mean, some of these guys live out of town. It's not practical for them to attend an off-season event, but autograph stuff that you can bid on. It's just great all around.
Jared,
yeah, for sure.
Do you want to weigh in on this golden at bat? Don't do it yet. If you do, just tell me yes or no at this point. And or can you stay another few minutes?
No, okay, as long as I'm not loitering, I can stay.
All right, good. All right, we want to get his opinion. We got our batting cleanup segment coming up next. We talk about that. We talk about Sasaki and where the Rangers figure in that chase for Roki Sasaki. That's all coming up on the DLLS Rangers podcast. But diehards, if you're not one yet, you should be, and go ahead and do it. Right now is the time. $36. $36 to become a diehard for a year. You get a free T-shirt. That's worth $35. Do the math. It basically means you're becoming a diehard for all that it provides for $1 for a year. As Jeff has said, you can't buy the kind of content that we're providing on the website, much less all of these shows we do. But just on the website alone, you can't buy that kind of content anywhere else for anywhere close to even the $36 figure. All of them are much more expensive than that. We're providing content daily, especially when our teams are in season. And even now, Jeff's writing all the time. We've got other writers for all the other teams. Do yourself a favor. Become a diehard. You get 20%. Once you do, you get 20% off all the merch that you will buy in the future. And you also get 20% off any of the events that we will do, of which there will be plenty. So become a diehard before the end of today to save yourself a whole bunch of money.
Yeah, and then with the membership, you get a shirt, which you can go check out at store.allcitynetwork.com. Beneath this hoodie, I have on the new TCU shirt.
Oh, that's a nice one. Yeah, I like that one a lot. Yeah.
So we got 2 TCU shirts. We've expanded our college shirts to include such trash programs as Texas Tech, Texas, and Baylor, SMU. But that's all right. Check it out, though. We have five Rangers shirts, which I own all of them.
Yep.
A lot of DLS stuff. Be our billboards and be a part of a community that's growing, and it's fun, and it's built for fans. Nobody else is doing Rangers podcasts 5 days a week in the middle of an off season. Stars, Mavs, Cowboys, daily podcasts, daily written content behind a paywall. But yeah, and sweet merch.
All right, so it's time to do our batting cleanup segment, and Jared Sandler is with us, and Jared, we'll have you weigh in on any of this that we get to. But Jeff found the Baseball America column about the rankings for Roki Sasaki and where he might land. Not surprisingly, on most lists, the Dodgers are first, but I haven't seen any of the national pundits even put the Rangers in the conversation, Jeff, until this.
Yeah, Baseball America came out with their list. It was either Monday or yesterday, and they had the Rangers third behind the Padres, who they have at second. And I tilt toward Baseball America because they help supplement my income and have for a number of years. But what they say makes a lot of sense. They recognize that the Rangers have a strong history in Japan, a good network there. They have a lot of money. They're going to have a lot of money. They've shown in the past a penchant for acquiring more to add to their pool, which you can do. And then, you look at, Jacob deGrom and Kumar Rocker. If you're a young guy like Sasaki is, and you want to pitch with the best guys in the world, Rocker's not there yet, but he certainly looks like he's going to be a horse for a while, and deGrom is. Sasaki might be the deGrom of Japan. So, yes, the Dodgers and the money and the Japanese influence they have on their roster, but I really think, and I've thought all along, that the Rangers were players, and what Baseball America didn't say is, I just think that, again, Chris Young is like an absolute secret weapon. He can talk a language that Andrew Friedman and AJ aren't AJ Preller aren't able to talk. And I think that if Chris Young can get in the room, he's going to make a hell of a pitch.
Jared, thoughts?
Yeah, no, I think Jeff said it perfectly. There's just so much unknown with these guys who come over from Japan. You know, you can say, well, he's going to be a Dodger because he wants to play with Yamamoto and Ohtani, but maybe he doesn't want to play with those guys. Maybe he wants to, pave his own path. And there is a proof of concept with a Japanese player playing for the Rangers and having success, and Yu Darvish. And, I guess fans can weigh in, on whether or not they feel like Yu's time in Texas was a success. But what is unequivocally a success is that you had a great time in Texas, right? That's not for any of us to say. That's what he said. And so, I think that there is value in a Japanese player coming over, a marquee Japanese player, and having a good time. And Jeff might know the answer to this. I think you might still live here or have a residence here. I mean, he enjoyed his time here, and I think there's value in that. So I agree. The Rangers have always had a strong presence there, and I don't know that they're the favorites, but I definitely, agree with Baseball America that they're a definite player for Roki Sasaki. And just because some random person doesn't have the Rangers in their top 5 list doesn't mean that they're not right in the mix. I think they definitely are.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is. I'm sorry, a lot of these lists that come out aren't. There's not a lot of thought put into them. I think that Baseball America took a deeper dive than just about anybody else on all 7 teams that are on their list. They named 7 likely landing spots. I think they hedged toward the Dodgers just because everybody else is, and you don't want to be wrong. You don't want to miss a layup. But there's a lot more thought put into their list than some of these. Some of them just don't even make sense, and it's like not paying attention and not looking back. And anyway,
I'm basically just looking at who has the most money.
Get off of my yard while you're at it.
Yeah. But it's a lot of times they just look at who has the most money, which isn't really even that applicable in this case, since it's all coming from the international pool. So, it's a interesting, this year we've spent more time studying each and every in and out of each and every case, and it's a more frustrating dynamic than I even realized. And of course, Jared, that's for us because we're doing, this show every day. So we want to be up to speed on everything. And man, it's been a lot more fun doing a daily off-season show than I thought, but there is a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
No, for sure. It's not like the NFL or like the Cowboys where they try and, make themselves the story of the day every single day. But the various stages of the off season and potential rule changes or whatever might pop up, there's always stuff to talk about for sure.
So more old home week for you here. I'm glad you stayed, Jared. Look at there.
Hi, Jared.
Katya, Bobby.
Oh, what's up, Bobby? Hey, Katya.
Dude, the hair looks so good. I haven't seen you with long hair.
I don't know how much longer it's going to.
No, I like it. Keep it.
No.
Please beat
Might be
KT
the last
this weekend,
public
Jared.
appearance with it.
Please beat KT this weekend. Do me a favor, please.
Well, I know. I need a big week. Fantasy football.
Oh,
Bye.
wow.
I love you, Jared. You're the best.
Guys.
Everybody here at All City loves you, Jared.
Yeah, we've had a lot of guests on, and no one else has wanted
No
to
one.
talk to like John Daniels or Mark
That's
McLemore.
sweet.
None of them.
They've just been like, "How the hell with it?" But Jared, we got to talk
Jared's
to Jared.
like Mr. Popular.
That's
isn't
right.
he?
That's
yeah.
right. Well, yeah.
Well,
good
it's
reason.
not. Hey, it's not surprising.
Right.
Look
right.
at him. It's not surprising with those locks of wavy long hair. All right, Jared. The golden at bat, is that what they're calling it? I saw somebody post today where the Savannah Bananas or whatever the heck they're called were wearing their yellow uniforms and the opposition was wearing their pink ones, and in the middle of the game a pillow fight broke out and somebody tweeted, this is what Rob Manfred wants for Major League Baseball. Hopefully he doesn't want it that bad, but to me this golden at bat idea is headed down that path.
Yeah. So I'll start with this. I do not like the golden at bat rule. I do not want the rule as it has been communicated, implemented in Major League Baseball. But a few things that I will reject from some of the opinions that I have seen. One, I don't know whether Rob Manfred likes baseball or not. It's not for me to comment on. What I do know is that he has horrible PR advisor, just doesn't listen to it, and has never once been good about publicly representing himself in alignment with the interests of the fans, right? So I think that sometimes he gets a bad rap because of the fact that he is horrible in that department. I mean, if you look at the most recent rule changes that he made, I guess, you're not going to get perfect agreement, but I think that the pitch clock has been very successful. I don't know that he is going to implement the golden at bat rule, but the thing I'll say about baseball, one of the challenges is simply that the best players are only a part of a game a very small percentage of the time. If it's a hitter, if you think there's 18 guys who hit between the two teams, a hitter, Corey Seager, Adolis Garcia, that's about 5.5% of the time they're going to be batting. The starting pitcher is the one person who can maybe take up a big timeshare of a game, but even that is going to be considerably less than half the game, especially with the way the pitchers are handled these days. Whereas in football, Patrick Mahomes is on the field half the game. And when there's 58 seconds left and the game's tied and the Chiefs have the ball, you don't have to cycle through quarterbacks. Patrick Mahomes is the quarterback. In the NBA, Luka Doncic is going to be on the floor for 40 minutes. And in a crunch time situation, the ball will be in his hands. So while I don't like the golden at bat rule, I do at least I am curious what sort of creative ideas baseball has to try and take that challenge and turn it into an opportunity. Because I think one of the challenges baseball has is that its stars, is as much as maybe baseball has come up short in marketing its stars, the structure of the game limits the exposure to these stars. And I don't like the golden at bat rule at all, right? But I wonder if there is a way to maximize the exposure of these stars, because I do think that the structure of basketball benefits basketball. The fact that Luka Doncic will be on the floor for 40 minutes, Steph Curry for 40 minutes, and the ball almost every possession will touch their hands, that the quarterback that you love is going to be on the field in theory half the game. Whereas your favorite player in baseball really is limited in his ability to perform. And I do think that is a challenge that baseball deals with and might have to figure out a better way to address. But I do not think that the golden at bat rule is the answer to that.
I think it's built on kind of a fallacy. The Ohtani Trout at bat in the World Baseball Classic. That matchup is not going to happen in the ninth inning.
No,
that's going to be, if the Angels are facing the Dodgers, let's say, and it's the fifth inning and the Angels load the bases with 2 outs, that's when they're going to bring in Trout to face Ohtani. It's not something that's going to. It's not an Eckersley Gibson moment.
Right.
A once in a lifetime thing in the ninth inning of a World Series. Everything's on the line. It just won't have the same drama because it will be utilized by managers when people aren't expecting it to be utilized. So Mike Trout's going to bat in the fifth inning against Shohei Ohtani, not in the ninth, because Ohtani's going to be out of the game. And in all honesty, the game's probably not going to hang in the balance. Is the golden at bat more dramatic if Corey Seager is facing Josh Hader or Corey Seager against, Dylan Cease?
Right.
It's just not, it doesn't work. It's built on a lie. That's my opinion. And it sucks.
You've actually made me think a little differently of it, Jared. I still, again, I like the last 2 rule changes. Still, really don't like the Ghost Runner, even though it does, make games go by more quickly, which isn't a bad thing. But I don't like that rule. But maybe, I was kind of doing get off my lawn, and
no, John, you're fine.
There's more to
you're
it.
100%.
No, I don't like the golden at bat rule at all. But I do like baseball's willingness now. I think it's a little too late, but I do like baseball's willingness to consider possibilities. I just don't think the golden at bat rule is a possibility they need to pursue.
Yeah. All right. Like us, subscribe to us, hang out with us. We're here each and every day. And now we're back. Just a little bit more, Jared, but we have to do this soft close thing. So like whoever re-airs this can get out of the show at this point. So now we're free Now there are, it's just us talking now. Really tell us. No. So, no, I agree with, but no, and the point I'm making, Jeff, with what I said to Jared is I get what you're saying about, look, how can we make sure that our best player is sort of available, sort of up, if you will, in that pressure cooker situation. Now, I will say this. It sure seems to happen a lot for a game that's not designed to do that. Corey Seager in Game 1 of the World Series or Adolis Garcia in the ALCS last year, right? It happens a lot, and those dramatic situations are what we remember. But I get your point. If it's Patrick Mahomes or Luka Doncic, it happens every time.
I just think that the sports fan today who is the younger generation who will hopefully, be a part of the group that drives sports for the next 20, 30 years, buying season tickets, all that stuff. They are very star driven. And I love the fact that in baseball, one guy doesn't move the needle as much as it might in the NBA, right? Or your quarterback goes down in the NFL, your season's cooked. I like that Ronald Acuna Jr. can be out for the season and you can still win a World Series. But I just don't know. To the younger fan, it seems like it's sports is consumed so much through Instagram and Snapchat and or maybe not TikTok or whatever, and that is very individualized and very star driven. And they don't care as much about how cool it is that Travis Jankowski came up with a big hit in Game 4 of the World Series. They just want Adolis. They want Corey. They want Juan Soto and Judge and Ohtani. And that's just not the way that this sport is built. And so baseball's got to figure out how to turn these challenges into features and not bugs. And I don't know that it's manipulating the lineup. I'm not saying that's what it is, but I just worry that the younger sports fan with a shorter attention span who's not sitting there and watching a game, forget 9 innings, how many of them are sitting and watching 6 innings of a game as opposed to waiting until later that night or the next morning and checking out the highlights? And it's very star driven. And I wish there was a better way baseball could feature its stars overall. And the combination of that plus 162 games, I think, presents some challenges for what they're able to accomplish in that regard.
Yeah. Well, great thoughts, Jared. Great cause coming up this weekend. We appreciate your time today. Good luck with the event this weekend. Wish we could be there, but I know it'll be great fun, and I know you'll have great success.
Thank you guys so much for asking about it and for having me, and continue the great work talking about the Rangers. I really appreciate it, guys.
Yep.
Thanks, Jared.
We appreciate you too, Jared. We'll see you again very soon. That's Jared Sandler, and that's going to do it for us unless you want to put a cap on this in any way.
No.
Okay, good. So we're done. Thank you. We're going to be back tomorrow, 1 o'clock. It was supposed to be later. Yeah. Noon. I mean, normal noon. Normal noon. It was supposed to be 2, and we're on at the normal noon tomorrow. So that's fun. We'll stay steady, and we'll have lunch with you again tomorrow with another edition of the DLLS Rangers podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.